Our next speaker is Ann Kotleba, who graduated with her MFA in Community Arts this past May, and founded, while she was in school, she founded the Baltimore United Viewfinders, which is an East Side photography-based youth leadership initiative. And as a result of that, she also, that's still playing, she also recently received a community fellowship from the very prestigious Open Society Institute of Baltimore. So, Ann.
Hello. Unlike my esteemed colleagues here, I'm going to talk more about my, I don't know where to put this, okay. I'm going to talk more about my community work rather than my personal studio work. So it's not different per se, it's just kind of, that's what I'm kind of encapsulating this in. So yeah, I recently received an OSI Community Fellowship, and what's brought me here today, though, is not so much a linear line. It's more so been a squiggle, like this. So the story of the Community Fellowship and where I am right now kind of starts here at Augustana College, where I graduated with a degree in political science and studio art. And everyone said, Ann, what are you going to do with political science and studio art? And I said, I have no idea, but I'm going to figure it out. And after I graduated, I did what many Midwesterners do, and I left the Midwest. I went to California and enrolled in a program called AmeriCorps NCCC. This is a year-long, team-based community service program where you travel to different places doing working with different nonprofits. And it just so happened that right as I got there, there was a series of 4 hurricanes that hit South Florida. And so the first thing they did was send us to a town called Punta Gorda, Florida, and we did disaster response. And it was here that I kind of started learning about what it meant to be a visitor to a community, especially a community that's just lost everything. But I also learned how the community can band together to rebuild and to rebuild together. And I found the resiliency of the human spirit in Punta Gorda. And so I was there for about 7 weeks, and we left. We went and finished the rest of my year of service. And but this stayed with me. This image especially stayed with me for long after. And it wasn't until about a year after that when I was watching the news, and I was living in Colorado at the time, and I saw that Hurricane Katrina was hitting the Gulf Coast. And so they were saying that Hurricane Katrina was like the biggest storm that anyone's ever seen, especially in the United States. So I went to Mississippi. And I worked with an organization called Hands on Gulf Coast. And they were located in Biloxi, Mississippi. And I volunteered through the recovery process. We removed debris. We did some mold remediation. We started rebuilding the city. And I learned very quickly that I am not good at construction. And I was kicked off many job sites because I can't measure very well, and apparently that's really important. So I kind of took a look at my little toolbox, and I said, well, what can I do? What skills do I have that I can help? I felt that I needed to be here, and so I'd been working with young people for most of my life, and I had these art skills. I'd maintained my my personal art practice this entire time. So I started working with an after-school program, doing different art projects, and we started with like some beautification things, different like small murals and stuff, and then I got together with some of the construction guys, and we started making bigger things. We started, reclaiming green spaces, rebuilding community spaces, and through some of these relationships, I met some folks from the O'Keeffe Museum of Art. And what the O'Keeffe Museum of Art was at the time, it's located in Biloxi, Mississippi. But after Hurricane Katrina, this is what it looks like now. It's a Frank Gehry design building. It was run out of a trailer when I got there because their entire museum had been completely leveled. So they were trying to get art back in the schools, to get young people still interested in the art, and to get publicity for the museum still, so they could help raise the money to build the museum. So we were doing small outreach projects, and then I kind of worked with the director, and I said, well, how can we make a greater impact? And so I worked together with them to develop the Ambassadors Development Program. And what that was is, so we started going back into the schools, but now this time doing like bigger projects, getting the youth invested for a longer period of time. We did murals like this. We started teaching digital storytelling. I worked with the videographer, and we made like short films that some of the high school students did. And I worked with a group of Latino immigrants and taught them photography skills. And so they were able to tell their story of the rebuilding process through photography. And so at the same time, as this was going on, I was also asked to work with youth in a different capacity. And I was invited by an organization called Communities in Schools to go into the Adolescent Offenders program at a juvenile detention center. And so I said, all right, let's see where this goes, and let's see what we can do here. And so I started connecting with the young people on a whole nother level, and we began to see the transformative power of the arts in a new way. And then we started sharing our story with the public. So we're not only changing their lives, the young people's lives, but how the outsiders see them as well. And so I kind of realized, I was like, oh, well, maybe this is what I need to be doing. So maybe I figured it out. So I applied for Mica and came here to the Community Arts program. And after when I stepped on campus the first time and I talked with Ken Krafchek, the director, I said, oh yeah, this is where I need to be. And it just so happened that they were also building Mica Place over in East Baltimore at the same time that I got here. So I worked with some different community organizations with Ken Krafchek and Natalie Trinelli, one of my fellow classmates, and some other youth development organizations. And we said, how can Mica Place best serve this community? And what grew out of those conversations was the Baltimore United Viewfinders, which, like you heard, is a youth arts leadership initiative. And they're telling the story of their East Baltimore community through their own eyes. And so they meet up at Mica Place. They learn photography, different technical skills like aperture, shutter speed, white balance, things like that, how to tell a story through photos. They're also using world-class technology of an arts institution, getting to learn Photoshop and the whole Adobe package. And they're also starting to become young entrepreneurs. So they're selling their work. And they're spreading their story with the greater community. So I was doing all this, while I was still in graduate school. So when I was upon graduation, I was like, well, what am I going to do next? How can I stay here? How can I keep working with this organization that I helped build? And it's where we got some folks said that I should apply for this OSI Community Fellowship. And so we had to start thinking creatively of how that was going to happen. And facilitation money is really hard to come by. I know OSI is one of the only organizations that fund facilitators. They fund people. So therefore it gets pretty competitive. But as they announced last month, I was very fortunate to be able to join a long history of inspiring and amazing agents of change in Baltimore. But like I said, didn't get there by one direction. It's been a long spiral, and I'll just leave you with a couple of things that I've learned along the way, is to trust yourself, trust your instincts, and trust your own abilities. Take risks, apply for fellowships, Send in your applications, things like that. Dream big and build and maintain relationships because you're not going to be able to do it on your own.